Bigfoot sighting from South Texas. When I say South Texas, I mean deep South Texas. And up until recently, I hadn't received any reports from down that area, but this is the second report that I've received from this general area in the last year. And that, when I'm saying South Texas, I'm talking deep South Texas, like getting close to the Mexican border down there. So I'm going to walk on a little deeper into the woods here and find a place to stop and tell you about that sighting and some other things that I've got going on in the near future. Well, like I said, I just received a new report from South Texas, which is not where we normally get Bigfoot sightings from, but after I got the one last year and my attention was called to some more going-ons around that area, I just received this past week another report from down there in the deep southern part of Texas. Before I get started on that, I want to share a couple of things going on, and one, give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to my friend Cornell up in Massachusetts, who has the No Such Thing podcast, and if you haven't checked that out, check his channel out. I've done some interviews on there, and he's got some very interesting content as well. And my friend Mark, who has a Livewire YouTube channel. Hope you're doing well, Mark. And my friend John Hodges, who has the YouTube channel John Hodges Anything Outdoors, and he has content on there to do with anything from Bigfoot to foraging for wild plants to fixing a boat. So check his channel out if you haven't already. And also going forward, me and my son Elijah, who I had him on one of my videos here last about 3 or 4 months ago. Me and him and Cornell from up Massachusetts No Such Thing podcast come down, and we did a two-part documentary down in the Kiamichis. And here real soon, I was talking to Elijah today, he and I are going to go back down there as soon as we can coordinate our schedule and do some more video shooting. And one other thing, I have started another YouTube channel, and it is called Dave's Outdoor Channel. And on that channel, I will be dealing with the more mundane, I guess you would say, wildlife, such as snakes and spiders, just anything else you would run into out in the woods of that nature. I've got a pretty good knowledge about reptiles and other animals and such, and I'm instead of putting those videos on this channel, which primarily deals with cryptids, I'm going to load those onto that channel. So all of you guys that are subscribed to me here, I would really appreciate it if you would give my other channel, Dave's Outdoor Channel, a watch and subscribe to it. I've got very few videos on it now, but there are more coming. So anyway, that being said, let's get on to this new sighting that I just received via email here just a few days ago. Like I said, this comes from down South Texas, not far from an area that I received a sighting report, well, not a sighting report, but a report of footprints being found down in that area. And this is down South Texas, southwest of San Antonio quite a ways. So we're getting closer to the Mexican border there, a place that we don't normally associate with this kind of activity. And this man, he gave me permission to use his story, and he said you can even name the location, just don't use my name. And as always, I respect a person's wishes on that. So with no further ado, I'll read you his report. He said, "Thank you for bringing to light that yes, indeed, there are Bigfoot out here in South Texas." He had apparently watched the video about the footprint find down in South Texas. He said, "When I bought my old farmhouse in rural Moore, Texas area in 2004, let's just say I had issues. Never throw your leftover food outside because it will attract all kinds of creatures. Well, apparently I was inadvertently doing something by mistake called habituation. Sometimes at night around 10 p.m. to midnight, something would bang hard against my wooden house. I thought it was some neighbor kids messing with me for the longest time. I would run outside with a machete and a flashlight, but to no avail. I never saw anyone. Then someone told me it's too dark out there and that I need to put up motion sensor floodlights. So I did that, and amazingly the banging stopped. Whatever it was did not like the light. Now I'm going to stop right there because there's some other things that I've read that's very relevant to this. Now, y'all, I'm sure, are familiar with the account of the legend of Boggy Creek over in Fouke, Arkansas, and a gentleman named Smoky Crabtree. He, in the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek, really kind of sensationalized this creature as borderline violent, terrorizing the people around Fouke. And Smoky said in an interview that I read and heard, actually, on a CD that a gentleman had sent me, called Jeffrey Sasquatch. Thank you, Jeffrey. He sent me that interview. But Smokey said this thing was not violent whatsoever. It never showed aggression. He said, as a matter of fact, he said if you shined a flashlight in the woods when it was out there, it would run off. So he said you didn't need anything more to get rid of this creature than a flashlight. It just didn't like the light. And this gentleman here, excuse me, that just sent this report said the same thing. He put up the floodlights, and he said when he did that, amazingly, the banging stopped. Whatever it was did not like the light. Whenever I would forget to activate those lights for the night, sure enough, there was the bang again. Till one night I happened to be by a window on that side of the house. It banged, I flipped the floodlights on, and there it was, walking away from my house. He said this thing was a huge thing. I only saw the back of it. He said it looked like some kind of a gorilla, but taller with reddish brown hair. I thought, oh my God, is that someone in a costume? But he said, I noticed it had such a dirty rear end, like this thing had pooped on itself. And he said it had leaves and grass all stuck to its bottom. And he said, let me tell you, it stunk like poop, skunk, and blood. So he said, I knew this was a real animal. One time he said it growled at me so deep and ugly, he said my feeling was I felt it wanted to eat me. I've had several dogs disappear, and I think they got eaten by this creature. So then I put up a huge fence, and he said, now I have no more issues. Please see the pictures of my huge fence I put up to keep these creatures away. And I did look at those pictures he sent me, and there's some woodland, you know, fairly close to his house, not like what I would think. When I envision being up here from southeast Oklahoma, where it's just solid woodland pretty much, we tend to have this vision of South Texas as just desert and scrubland, and there's a lot of that there. But where he's at, it looks like there's some woods in those pictures too. But he said when I put the big fence up, he has no more issues, and said please see the picture of the fence that I put up, and I did. And of course I sent him an email back, said thanks for sharing your encounter. Until I received the one report last year from that area, I was not aware that these creatures have been seen that far south in Texas. Would you mind if I share your encounter on my YouTube channel? I will not use your name or location except South Texas. And he answered, he said, sure, you can use my story on your channel. You can even use my location, Moore, Texas, just not my name, please. And he said, P.S., one thing I forgot to mention was that this Bigfoot would bang on my house whenever I did not put any leftover food out. I was told that these animals become angry when you don't leave them any food. He said I was accidentally feeding them, so I stopped putting my leftovers out there. And you know, you leave leftovers outside, you're going to get whatever wildlife is around coming up. I do it on purpose at my house here, and I've got a family of raccoons and one large possum that comes up like clockwork every night, and to get those leftovers. So far I haven't had a Bigfoot come up though. And I've got game cameras out, so if he does, I'd love to get a picture of that. But I want to say thank you to this gentleman for sharing this report with me and giving me permission to share it. If you are from down around that area in South Texas and have had a similar experience or have heard of similar experiences like that, like I said before, that's not an area where I commonly receive reports from. I would be very interested in hearing any more reports from that area, or from anywhere for that matter. If you have a report that you would like to share with me, have shared on this channel, just email it to me at bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. That's bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. If you like what I'm doing with this channel, please share, like, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And for all you guys that subscribed and helped me to build this channel up over the past year, I sincerely appreciate all of you. And don't forget, check out my other channel if you want to see some videos from anything from fire ants to snakes to whatever. Doesn't have much on it yet, but I will be adding more videos to that over the coming weeks and months. But anyway, that's all I've got for now. Hope you found that informative. Like I say, got anything you'd like to share, just send it to me in an email, bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. Now, it's getting close to dark. I'm going to go for another hike through these woods and see what I can find. So until next time, you guys take care, stay safe.